Good evening. Welcome to Mi Gente on Air. I am your host, Larry Rodarte, and I want to invite everybody to come on into the room because we have a show today that is unusual because we are allowing our guests to, as well as our listening audience, to bring up comments in regards to this last weekend's Cinco de Mayo, the annual parade, the celebration, the festival. It's over with, and I'm so happy it is because versus the chairperson, which I am, as well as the parade coordinator, it's a lot of stress. And we really worked hard to make it beautiful, and we think it was. But we want to give the opportunity to have like a roses and thorns, meaning we want to hear from the community in terms of maybe a comment or a concern, some of the things that we did right and some of the things that we may have done wrong, because no parade or no festival is going to run as smooth as we want. And so, we want to open it up to the community, to my listening audience, and say, basically, the Cinco de Mayo, which is an annual event, we've done it for 46 years in Saginaw, that we want to hear and open it up to the community. So join me today when I have the parade coordinator, Dolores Cameron, who is here. She's part of the Unión Cívica Mexicana, and she was running the parade. It was her baby this year, and she sure ran with it. We were real happy with the results and what she did. And so join me today here on Mi Gente on Air.
Welcome to Mi Gente on Air on 100.5 and 790 News Radio WSGW and online WSGW.com. Now, here is your host, Larry Rodarte.
Good evening. Good evening. Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in today. I am your host, Larry Rodarte, and I am with you today this great May the 6th, one day after the official Cinco de Mayo. But Saginaw, we really celebrated this last Saturday with a big parade and a festival at the Joke Credit Union Event Park. And so I wanted to give my listening audience the opportunity to talk about the Cinco de Mayo this Saturday. So if you come on into the chat room, we will try to address any concerns or questions that you may have. It's kind of a roses and thorns show. And my guest today is the parade coordinator. She's a member of the Unión Cívica Mexicana. Her name is Dolores Cameron, and she ran with this parade, baby. She was really a go-getter, and she actually, the parade had to be cut off. I think it was Thursday when we reached our limit, just so that it wouldn't go past the 12 o'clock hour. So please help me welcome to Mi Gente on Air, Dolores Cameron.
Good evening.
And Dolores, you had a calling out while you were riding in the golf cart up and down the parade route, and I want you to give that little call out that you did on the parade.
My call out was La Unión Cívica Mexicana Cinco de Mayo Annual 2025 Parade, and everybody was just screaming in the streets and let's go Saginaw, because with all the negativity, we showed we could be positive. Like everyone was like Saginaw, and they were just pumped. I was trying to get everybody pumped as the parade just kept going and kept going and kept going. People thought it was over, but it kept going and kept going this year.
And one of the things, as somebody who's been involved with the parade for many years, is we can't please everybody. There's always going to be the naysayers. There's always going to be somebody who kind of speaks the loudest. And now with social media platforms, they're the ones that kind of speak the loudest behind the keyboard or whatever. But overall, it was positive. I got a lot of positive feedback. You could hear the vibe in the crowd. And I was over by the 7-Eleven store, and it was packed, jam-packed in that area. And despite the cold, because this is one of the coldest parades that we have ever had at least that I've been involved with, People were still in their ponchos. They were coming out. They were dealing with the cold, but they were still so excited. So, what was your feedback as trying to organize at Hoyt Park? What were you doing over there at Hoyt Park to tell people, you know, we got to go forward anyways, rain or shine, right?
Right, rain or shine, I prayed for no rain, so we got it, no rain. Um, we had, I mean, the people as they were coming in, I made sure I greeted them and made sure to make them feel warm. Were actually warm inside. I was making them feel really good. I had people that were complimenting me, saying, "Hey, you're coming, man. You're great. We know who you are." My volunteers up on the hill were like, "Dolores, you don't need that megaphone today," and I'm like, I know, but I still need to use it and pump these people up, make them know that, hey, it's a little chilly out, but we're gonna make this parade A1. And I could not have asked for a better organization than I had this year. We really had good communication, and the people that were in the parade, we knew exactly where we wanted to place them. They were excited. I just didn't want nothing to be duplicate. Everything was different every time. Every time that parade rolled out, we stuck somebody else, so nothing was the same.
So tell me, like, if you were a participant in the parade, and everybody was told to go to Hoyt Park. How was that set up? Because I know some people, they were a little upset because they were placed and it was basically first come first serve, right?
Yes, it's based on a first come first serve where you're usually placed at. Like some people were upset about not being first, and we have like vendors that are want to be in the parade and also want to be in the festival, so we had to accommodate that too, with accommodating people, bringing people in the parade first. But people were coming in at 7 in the morning, setting up and standing out there in that cold. But then we had our people that were rolled in like at 10:15, and our parade started at 10:30. So they were a little upset about um being placed last. But to me it wasn't last, because last is always good too, because the parade was so big this year, 56 minutes, and we get an hour. I mean, we might go over that next year. But yes, people were upset, but I just need you guys to get there. If you plan on being in the parade and you want to be in the middle or in the front, we definitely got to get there between like 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock to be ready.
Now, granted, we know that when we have had previous parades and it's been very sunny, it's been 60 or 70 degrees. The mood's a little bit different in all. This year, I think the temperatures were hovering in the mid 40s and maybe 50s as the parade went on. So, I mean, it was chilly, and it was cloudy. So there wasn't too much sun, but it wasn't real cold. Now I remember we had rain and we had cold, and we had to move the actual festival into the Dow Event Center instead of having it outside. So we've definitely had colder, but this was one year where it was cold, and it might have dampened the spirits to some people. But we always go on, and it was we are notified by the news organizations. Are you going to be canceling because of the weather? They said that the Flint Cinco de Mayo was canceled because of the weather. And I says, we have never canceled Cinco de Mayo. It's always on the first Saturday of May, and that is granted to us by the state of Michigan, that we are to hold the Cinco de Mayo in Saginaw that first Saturday. So, to have canceled it and have it another day or whatever, we just don't. We always have it on that first Saturday, and we go forward, rain or shine. And we did this year, and it was really nice. I was able to, really be a part of it, rather than giving commentary, which I have in the past for Mi Gente on Air. It was nice to be able to view it from a journalistic standpoint and take pictures. And there were some really nice moments and some beautiful floats. But I want to, address the idea, something that's very important. And I know that Dolores and I have talked about this. I was going to call you Cameron. Dolores and I, as well as some of the all stars that put on this parade and festival, and that's the issue with the candy throwing. And I'm sure other parades, whether it's the St. Patty's Day parade or the Memorial Parade, they may have this issue. But this year it seemed like it was a little bit over the edge. And what I'm talking about is when people throw candy and all, the kids are going in the streets, and they were getting way too close to the actual parade. And I want to address that with Dolores. And what were your thoughts on that?
Yes. We know that the kids love the candy. We all know that. I mean, our participants have bags and loads of candy for the children. We just want like parents for maybe for next year, the what with the kids going in the middle of the parade, they are actually stopping our parade because we don't want no children. At the end of the day, we don't want no one to get hit by a horse, nobody to get hit by a car, or but the parents, we would just like you to just keep the children to the side. Believe me, there's plenty of candy. If they didn't catch it on one float, they're going to catch it on the next float. There was, we had a lot of participants complaining also that they would throw the candy and the kids would just run up to the float and try to touch their float and stuff like that. We understand kids are excited, but we do want the kids to be safe at the end of the day. So definitely next year we'll try to figure out some things, maybe zigzag some of them cars a little bit more to where the children can see them closer, or just anything like that. But we definitely need the parents' help when it comes to keeping the kids away from the participants of the parade.
And I was thinking that possibly going into Cinco de Mayo week, that we could do some PSAs or something to let parents and grandparents know, you got to help us with this. You got to keep your kids back because it's dangerous. And that's part of the reason why we have insurance for the actual parade, for the liability, because I think there was a few years back with the Memorial Day, somebody did get hurt. They fell actually off from a float and landed in the street and were hurt. And so the city of Saginaw has made sure that we have insurance for this event. But I did see you and Jesse Vasquez on a golf cart, and you were riding through on the street, and you were going the opposite way of the parade, and you were trying to move the kids and telling them to get back, like get back. And I've never seen that before, where it was that bad, where they were going all the way up to the yellow line, and some of the parade participants, they were actually stopping because of the crowd. And so I do want to address that. And one of our comments here on one of our listeners, she says, very hard to see the parade because people would not get back on the curbs. They were asked many times to please back up, but the people would not back up. It wasn't just the kids, it was the adults that were very rude. And that's from Jennifer Sannon. She's one of the listeners here. And Christy Lopez says also, good idea to have PSAs ahead of the parade. So what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that I was going to bring that up about the parents too. We know you want to get those shots. We know you're excited because your children are excited about, being in the parade. We just ask that maybe get your shots before the parade. So that way, you're not stopping and they're stopping, posing and doing all that stuff and causing the parade to actually stop. Because I don't think the community understands when the kids are in the way or the parents are in the way, it stops our whole parade. Like it puts a halt to it. And then my performers won't be able to do their performance because we were dealing with other issues that didn't even pertain to our parade, giving you them cheerleading performances, them dance performances, them band performances. Then they get upset with us because they think we don't want them to perform, but it's not that. We're on a time crunch and we have it marked in where you can do a performance. But when the children and that get involved and the parents start taking pictures and having their kids stop in the middle of the street, that hurts our parade at the end of the day.
And I saw actual parents right around by where I was, the 7-Eleven store. They actually got in front of their kids to take pictures of them. So they were in the route of the parade. And so it did have to stop. And it was some of the dancers, and they looked beautiful. The dancers, they had those, I remember they had blue costumes on it, but parents were like leaving the side of the parade and going right in front. I mean, I've never seen that before where they got right in the parade route.
Yeah, nowadays, I mean, people love to post on Facebook and social media, and we understand that. But we would like you to do it before the actual parade begins, like take your shots and stuff like that. Well, I mean, we're down there at the bottom of Hoyt. I'm not saying everybody bum rush us down there, but I mean, if you need to come take pictures, hey, you're more than welcome to do that. But going down and stopping our actual parade, yeah, we have to get better at that.
Well, Christy Lopez, she says, how about asking the parade participants to have walkers take the candy closer to the curb? And then Paula Stricker, she says, some parades only allow the walkers to hand out the candy, not from the float. Now, that's key because we've talked about this since the parade. We really feel that it is detrimental to and dangerous if they're being thrown from, say, the floats or the cars or whatever, because they're not getting the candy far enough into the crowd, into the grass area where the people should be. And so kids are running out, and we've seen this through the years. Kids run out, they try to get to the candy or whatever. But I think that if we have, say, you have a float in the parade, you have walkers on the side of the actual float, and it's those walkers that are throwing the candy to the kids in the grass sitting on the curbs. I think that may actually help, because I did talk with two mothers, and one was saying, you know, you got to do something about this, Larry. And the other end, I says, well, what do you suggest? What do you suggest we do? And she said, let's not have any candy. And the other mother said, if you don't have candy, she goes, no, she goes, then nobody's going to come. And you know, and so like, it's, you know, it's really hard. And we've kind of had to deal with this for the last couple of years. We've noticed it. But I have to tell you, this year, I've never seen it like that, where they were up to the yellow line and they were like stopping the parade. You couldn't get through. And you and Jesse were going the opposite way on a golf cart.
We did as much as we could to try to get them kids to get back. And they would do it for the first 2 minutes. And then as soon as we left the area, they were right back to where they were at.
Yeah. And it's like, where is the adult supervision? Because it's dangerous. I mean, it can be really dangerous, especially those horses that were coming down. And we had plenty of horses this year. You know,
we did.
There were a lot. There was at least 2 or 3 entries that had, you know, horse riders, and that can spook a horse to see that many, you know, crowd and kids and all. So it's really something that we as a community, we need the help on this. It can't be just the organizers, the Union Civica. It's not our fault. We're doing what we can. But we really need the help of adult supervision, parents, grandparents, neighbors. You know, they say it takes a village to raise a child. So I hope that everybody understands what we're trying to, you know, bring about here. Jesse Vasquez says, we don't want what happened in Bay City Parade to happen to us. They no longer can throw candy in the parade. I did not know that.
Yeah, wow. That's new.
And Angela Blanco says, also, cars will need walkers to pass out candy on the curb. And Gabe Osuna says, grab cones, use yellow tape so it's blocked off on the curb. I mean, that sounds kind of extreme, doesn't it? But I mean, if we have to go there, we're going to have to go there because, like I said, we don't want anybody to get hurt. And it's just something that I think that
we would need a lot of cones, Gabe.
Yeah, yeah, more expense, right? And the thing is we're going to have to really address this, like I said, a week, 2 weeks in advance to let really people know. And
but maybe, right now, Saginaw, no candy is not an option right now. But don't get frightened by that. We're still going to allow candy. We're just going to come up with a different way of approaching that so it doesn't interfere with our parade.
Yeah, yeah. And there were individuals that complained too. I noticed that I saw some posts where they said, you know, that they couldn't see the parade because of the crowds that were going out getting, you know, the kids and all. It was pretty massive. I mean, where I was at and when I was taking pictures, and I got video of it so I could show other members. I was really shocked, you know. And I've been a part of this for the last 15 years, and I've never seen it like this. So, yeah, we're going to have to address that. Maybe like I said, do those PSAs, maybe get the mayor involved, maybe get, some of the city council members to talk to the people, some type of commercials or something on social media to say, really, let's be conscientious of this and try to make a difference because we don't want the kids to get hurt. We don't want any kids
Right.
to get hurt. And there were
Right.
a lot of kids. There was a lot of kids.
There was a
That
lot.
that was a
Saginaw
thing
showed
about
up.
yeah, that was the thing about this parade. I felt that there was a lot of youth involved. There were
Hmm.
just kids all over. The parade participants, the bands that we had, and they were festive. It was really nice to see that, for our community.
Yeah, it was.
And so, was it hard for you as the parade coordinator to try to get people involved, say a month out, because it seemed like everybody comes at the last minute, the week of, there's all kinds of applications and they're trying to get
Oh
in and
yeah,
we had to
that
shut it
last week
down.
was.
How was that for you?
Um, the like a month or two before May 3rd, I was walking. I was going to people. I was inboxing because everybody knows social media is the key sometimes now, and I was just giving them a reason why they needed to be in our parade. You know, uh, Businesses. We attract. I think this year we attracted probably about 2,000, 2,500 this year. We had to have. But the numbers were down only because of the weather. Because a
Yeah.
lot of people were like, Dolores, I watched the videos. Dolores, I watched the pictures of the parade. Man, if it was a little warmer, I would have been out there. She was like, but my grandkids, they're too young to, I didn't want them to freeze and stuff like that. But just getting the word out, just making sure, giving them a reason why they need to join the La Una Civica this year's annual parade. And they actually answered because I was surprised at some of my participants. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, you want to be in it? Fine, perfect. And they were hyped up. I was hyped up. I don't know. I was tired, hyped up because I was I was on that megaphone making sure everybody was organized down there and trying to just make everybody feel warm. And I
Well,
think that's what they liked about it.
and I want to give props to the media this year because every station, every major station, even WSGW, I was on the Art Lewis show, and they gave us airtime in Channel 12, WNEM TV 5, Channel 25. They all had segments leading up to Cinco de Mayo. And so they really put the word out there for us. And I think
Yeah.
maybe that's the message that we have to have next year is that safety first.
Mhm.
Safety first when we're dealing with. And I want to read a comment by Toyo Rosas real quick before we go into commercial. He says, everything was great, but we always have to remember safety first and foremost. Remember the incident that happened years with when Draymond Green celebration where some people were hurt. So that's something that we do have to remember always, safety first. So don't go anywhere, anybody. I got Dolores Cameron from La Unión Cívica Mexicana, and she was the parade coordinator this year, and she did a wonderful job, and we're so happy to have her here on Mi Gente on Air. No te vayas. We'll be right back. All right. Thank you. Thank you for being with us. We want to welcome everybody who's in the room. We got a lot of people in the room, believe it or not, tonight. So I think this is a hot topic issue. And I'm so glad that you guys are participating, those of you that support the parade. I don't see anything negative in the chat room. Everybody's really supportive and trying to come up with a solution where we can have more safety in regards to that candy. Some of these participants, they do get sponsorship for candy and they get a lot of candy that they're throwing on the parade route. It's always been that way. I think so more though because they're finding a way where they get sponsors to sponsor the cost of the candy.
Mhm.
And so it's become an issue with our parade. It really has. And so we really have to address it just to make sure that we're conscientious of it and that we're going to try to do something about it next year so that we don't have a repeat of what happened this year because
Right, because everybody, like I said, everyone was really excited. The growth of the parade this year from last year grew a little bit. So more people got in the community got involved. So what happens when you get more people in the community? Their friends, their family joins in the parade and they get super excited about it. So, that's where you get all these clusters and stuff. And believe me, we felt the love. We felt the love, but like Larry said, being safety first, we have to. And with your help, we can make it happen. We can.
yeah. All right. So we're going to go back into the show. If you've got any comments or concerns, we will try to address them. That's what this show is about. We're going to talk a little bit more about the festival now, going in with Dolores Cameron. So stay with us, and we got the next 24 minutes to talk more about Cinco de Mayo, and then we're done for the year, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is Mi Gente on Air on WSGW.
Welcome back, mi gente. Thank you for being with us here today. I am your host, Larry Rodarte, and we're talking Cinco de Mayo still, even though Cinco de Mayo is over, because we're having a Roses and Thorns show. And my guest today is Dolores Cameron. She was the parade coordinator for the 46th annual Cinco de Mayo, and she is with the Unión Cívica Mexicana, and she did a great job. What has been your feedback, Dolores, from the parade, from people? Because I know that you woke up yesterday morning, or was it Sunday morning, and
Sunday
you
morning.
had like 30 some comments in your phone.
Oh, yes. People inboxing, how can I get involved? How can I help? And it was overwhelming. I had I was believe me, I would love the more the merrier, they say, right? Um and the help too, the help is needed. It definitely is needed because you can't organize 1,000 people by yourself. So you definitely need that type of help. But the highlights of my parade was Val Blanca. I owe you one. I owe you big time because with your leadership of me actually being in control, but you be doing the paperwork and helping with the applications, I really appreciate you. And then Tom from the Mac. This is his second year volunteering. I
Tommy
really
Sandoval.
Tommy Sando. I really appreciate your help also. You and your cones. Thanks. We might need them along the street, like Gabe said. But just all my volunteers that help me, and then all the different floats. I've had a lot. We had a lot of floats this year. Saginaw United. Whoa, your float was awesome. But we had churches. We had our tri bikes. That was new this year for everyone that seen our parade.
La Misión. They had those horses,
La
and that
Mission, this
the theme of Adelita, that was the women revolutionaries back in the Mexican Revolution. That was awesome what they did with that, and the theme of that, and them having them on horseback, actual the founders of La Misión. That was awesome.
Yes, and then the lowriders came out. Don't forget about our lowriders. They definitely showed out this year. Showing that you could come together and be part of one and not have nothing, no drama or anything like that. So I had no issues down there at Hoyt Park. I mean, everybody was helping everybody. If somebody needed a flower to hurry up on their float, someone was helping them then. And just people talking and mixing and laughing and vibing and singing and dancing down there. It was nice.
Yeah, it's like a party down there in
It
Hoyt Park.
was.
It really is. I saw some of the video, and I'm like, man, I want to be
I'm
there.
getting a DJ next year for the park.
Well,
So just so you know.
one of the things I want to bring up too is that I noticed that many of the entries, if you were with an organization, or even the schools, of course, you had up to some 50 participants within
Yeah.
that one entry of people.
Yeah.
That I think that there seems to be more of that, whereas before, you would just have them riding on a float, but there was a lot of people surrounding each entry, and it was a lot of people involved, a lot of young people.
Yes, a lot of young people involved. Schools showed out too. Herrick
Eric did a
Eric
great
was a
job.
big one. Shout out to Hooli and Tanisha.
Tanisha Gallardo.
Yes, Gerardo. But yeah, it was there was some nice floats. I was amazing. And our don't forget about our Civica float. Our queen she represented. Sydney, you did an excellent job. You looked amazing. A lot of people, a lot of comments on wow, who is she? Who is she? She's part of our organization. She's our queen. She reps the La Una Civica Mexicana.
Yeah, and her dad and her mom, as well as individuals that helped with that float, was they were an integral part of making that float beautiful, representing the Civica as well. And it's really important that we have that face for the Civica because she is the queen. She
Hmm.
represents us in the hope that we have as an organization every year, and that's been a tradition that's gone back 80 years since 1945. So it was important that they had a beautiful float and it was well represented.
Yeah, and then also, the annual Chuck Liddell Bully Walk. That they always come showed
That was
out,
awesome.
dressed to impress, float ready, everything. So shout out, rest in heaven to my cousin Chuck. But yeah, his dogs, their dogs, the little kids were like, "Look at the dogs." It was just so funny because at the end of the day, it's all about what the kids of Saginaw, they just loved it. They were talking about the donkeys that La Mission had. I mean, they like the horses and oh look at that, look at the cars, Toyo's car, like that purple one. There goes that, but look at that purple car. That's all you see. Look at that purple car.
Yeah,
So
Malo was exceptional in the parade, and it was really nice to see because he has had that car over at shows in
hmm.
Vegas and Texas, I believe, and actually it was home for the Saginaw Cinco de Mayo parade, so that was really nice.
Yes.
I want to read a few comments too because we've got a lot. Tony Martinez says the event was great and got a lot of good feedback. It seemed very organized at the park. Angela Blanco, she says, congratulations, Dolores, on reaching out to the car clubs. Lowriders are a big part of our culture, too. Such a beautiful sight seeing Low for Life, exclusive and out of control. Thank you for coming back home. You all were greatly missed. Bigger next year for sure. So that's a nice compliment from the president of the Union Civica. Judy Shook Stricker, who's the mother of the queen, says, only walkers allowed to throw candy is a great idea. So everybody's kind of getting on the same page in regard to the parade. And just honestly, from as chairman of the Cinco de Mayo parade and as somebody who has been involved for the last 15 years, I just want to really thank you, because it's a job. We know it's a job, and for someone to come along like you did with the enthusiasm and the hype that you did in wearing the sombreros on Channel 25 News, the disco sombreros, that was just awesome. So thank you so much for all that you did for the city of Saginaw with this parade.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And so I want to move on and talk about the festival now because we've only got, believe it or not, Dolores, 14 minutes left
Oh
in the show.
wow.
And I do want to mention, though, because some people say, we need to be a little bit more transparent in regards to cost. And the parade itself this year, which we have to pay the city of Saginaw, was basically $4,900. So it's not something that is done for free. We have to pay the expense of our city police for the blockades, for shutting down the road itself, and the expense, like everything else right now, seems to keep going up. So I just wanted to share that the police reserves. It's important that we raise enough money to pay that, and so that's why we have to charge at the Jolt Credit Union Event Park, because believe it or not, and if anybody wants to see these numbers and they want proof, I have it all. This festival and parade runs close to $35,000. And so it's really not something that we would like to put out there. But
Right.
I want to be transparent with everybody about it because this isn't like it was when we started in 1980. And I was there. I was a 16-year-old. And as the years went on, the cost increased. But um, I remember in the 90s, it was probably closer to 10,000. And just as we have evolved and as we have had the demands for uh, bigger celebrations and greater celebrations, the cost is always going to go up. So I just want to share that with everybody because even the Dow Event Center and the Jolt Credit Union Event Park, it's not inexpensive, it's expensive. And that's because they provide, a great facility with a lot of amenities, and we have to pay it in order to be there. And some people say to us, let's go back to the island. Well, there's a lot of issues with the island, and the security isn't there. And part of the reason why we moved to the Jolt Credit Union Event Park was because there was always fights on the island, and then they would have to shut down early. And so we have to look at the pros, we have to look at the cons, and we as an organization make that decision. And if anybody has a difference of how, or upset how we do things, you know you haven't walked our shoes to know. And I'm just saying that because we do get that feedback sometimes. And
I've seen
sure.
a lot of the feedback, not to cut you off, but I've seen a lot of the feedback on Facebook.
Yeah.
I've seen it because I have close to 4,000 friends on there. Some I true to my heart, some I just know. But why are they charging? It's supposed to be free. What
Okay,
happened?
let's address that. Why is it supposed to be free? When I look at other festivals and that start out and they're already charging $10 to get in. If you go to any
Mhm.
concert, you go to any event at the Jolt Credit Union Event Park, you go to a Spirit Hockey, anything, you're paying. There's
Mhm.
nothing really is free, and we as a community, we can't expect our events to be free. Just why? I don't understand that. We have to, as costs go up everywhere across the board, we have to pay. I remember when
Exactly.
people complained when it was only $1 to get on to the island. They were upset at that. You go down to Detroit, you go to a concert, you go to any of the sports games or whatever, for the drinks you're paying, 15 plus dollars
Right.
just for the
Parking.
drinks.
Just a
A
park.
Tiger game, we need to support our event because Saginaw has one of the most beautiful Cinco de Mayo's in the state of Michigan. I can vouch for that. I've been to the other ones, and I know that what we are doing here, we're doing it. You know what I mean? We are
Mhm.
actually doing it. And not too many smaller cities like Saginaw actually have, at the level that we have, the Cinco de Mayo celebration. Now, you see it in Chicago, you see it in Philadelphia, you see it in, of course, Detroit. But some of those even this year had to cancel. Chicago canceled their parade and festival. So we as a community of Mexicanos who are third, fourth generation here in our community, we have to support this event because this is our day to shine. And any animosity or any hatred that we may get or whatever, put it aside. Please put it aside and let's just go forward and try to put on a good face for our community. And it's really important because, like I say, when we're out there and we're in the parade, one of the beautiful things that I've always felt is that although it's targeted to the Latino community, you got all walks out there. You've got
Mhm.
black, white, brown, and everybody in between who are seeing this as a day to celebrate, just celebrate, but also celebrate the contributions of Mexicanos, the Mexican American community of Saginaw. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, and support us, support our Mexicana Unicivica dances. We put on dances that help raise, to help try, and we try to help figure out how we can make costs lower to our community. Support us as we keep putting on great events for you, Saginaw, Michigan. We need your help when it comes to those areas. We don't. We try to have patito sales on Fridays. You can support us by that. Um, we start actually Thursday. Thursdays and Fridays are our patito sales. We have dances that you could come and support because we know everybody likes to dance. The way they were dancing at that Jolt Event Center, they definitely got dancing shoes.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can support us in different ways like that. I mean, and then like the whole free thing. Did you see who we had there? I mean, come on, they didn't come for free. So just help us out on that end. That's all we're asking, and just support us. The La Mezza Civica, La Mexicana Civica.
Yeah, and the thing is okay. So if we do get a big name, rather than say, just some of the bands that are local talent, which are going to be a lot cheaper, of course, than saying a big name. What comes with that big name artist is flights, paying for
Hmm.
their flights to get to Saginaw, paying for their hotel rooms while they're staying here, paying for transportation from the airport to the event and then back to the airport. It's all those additional costs that is really expensive. When we're
Yeah,
talking about gas, and they're flying into Grand Rapids, it's expensive. So there's so much cost involved. But I think as an organization, we really put our best foot forward. We think it's worth it,
hmm,
because if you look at our event, tell me what other event in the city of Saginaw downtown is uh, is as big as ours. You know what parade is bigger than ours? What celebration? There used to be the ethnic festival downtown Saginaw. That no longer exists. You know, uh, Pride does a great event with their Friday Night Live, but nobody, I don't think, does what we do. And if they are, please let me know, because I would love to team up with anybody who's putting on organizational events like this to collaborate,
yeah.
because it's really, without the negativity or the hate. I'm saying, we need to collaborate and help support each other's events. And I'm not saying anybody that is rude to us or makes comments against the Union Civica. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about those that may be putting on, trying to put on a festival. I see the Gospel Fest. I see the Grown Folks events. Those types of things, because I don't see any that are really at the Jolt Credit Union Event Park. If I'm missing something or somebody, it's not on purpose. I'm just saying that that's how I see it. And I think that the city of Saginaw, whether it's the city leaders or whether it's, the Dow Event Center and all, I think there needs to be more credit given to the Union Civica and what we do to put on this event in downtown Saginaw.
Hmm.
Your thoughts?
Yes, those were my thoughts. I mean, I know we're getting ready to wrap it up, but really quick, I just want to let you guys know that we did appreciate you, Saginaw, Michigan. Um, Next year, the parade and the festival, the fiesta is gonna be even better. We're already, you think it was closed, but really the book's back open already for the 2026 and what we're gonna do for you, to bring out the community. So be ready. February 2026, I'm gonna start taking applications for the parade. The fiesta will be open also for ideas, but you have Larry's inbox, you have my inbox. If you have any other suggestions, any other complaints, just address them to us. We'll address them back. So definitely thank you again. Saginaw, Michigan, loved you.
And tell me, Dolores, how 3 weeks before Cinco de Mayo, we present and announce a major headliner. How'd you feel about AJ Castillo?
Oh man. I was like, AJ, what? This is a game changer. I had to call Cobb King. I had to call
Make sure you're
all
in,
these,
right?
yeah, hey, prep your food because let me tell you who we just got. And they were excited too. James is always in the house. But um yeah, having AJ, and then he's so humble. He was so nice,
Yeah, he
taking them selfies and you know,
came out
just
in the crowd, and
yeah, like
yeah.
just being there for the community, and everybody loved him. Everybody loved him. I didn't get my selfie, but I mean, I got everybody else's, so I was good with
Well,
that.
AJ took a selfie from the stage, and then he
Hmm.
also had video going where you could see all you girls screaming in the front, and it was pretty packed. And what the nice thing about that was that I noticed on his Facebook page today, it already has like 25,000 views. So that's
Oh
really
yeah.
putting a good light on the city of Saginaw. And I just want to thank everybody out there too, that we didn't have any problems or issues at the Joke Credit Union Event Park. Everything
None.
pretty much ran smooth. It was cold a little bit, but as the day got on, it got a little bit warmer. And when AJ came, the sun came out. Wasn't that kind of strange? It
Yeah,
was like
that
he brought the
was.
sun from Texas.
Yeah.
But I want to mention also our food trucks. Thank you so much, all of you who
Mhm.
came out, because I know the work involved in actually having food trucks come out to an event like that, where you've got a crowd of 2,000 people, and our numbers were down because of the weather. We usually have more, but overall, I think everybody still did very well. I know the Union Civica's Patito truck, we did exceptionally well,
Mhm.
for that crowd. And so I just want to thank all the food trucks. There was 10 of them, and they provided a means for people to really eat, and that's just part of the whole festival as within itself. But what's important for that is the economic development that brings to these food truck owners like Cop King James and Wellas and TNT and Big Pete's. They're constantly throughout the season working hard for the people to experience the culinary expertise of Mexican foods, Robbie D's as well.
Oh yeah.
And so it really gives them that boost for the beginning of the season, because they're all making that bigger money that they are at an event like this, as well as the Walleye Festival. Those are the two big
Yes.
ones coming into the season. So thanks to all our food truck vendors, our merch vendors that were out there, Chulas and some of the other ones, that we had some from Chicago as well. But thank God, I always say a prayer ahead of time, and thank God everything went smoothly. AJ Castillo, his father, his brother, the whole band was great. I had the honor to drive them from the airport and back, and so I got to spend a lot of time with them and talking to them. And one of the compliments that we did get was from the Ballet Folklorico dancers from Detroit, who they put on a great show. I
They
mean,
did.
they really went out of their way this year. I was really happy with them. But they said, we love the Saginaw Cinco de Mayo. We love coming here. It's so organized, more so than any of the other events that we participate in. And we just always look forward to it. And it showed because they really love our stage. And this year they got in front of the stage and they were on the stage. And it was nice to see so many young kids involved in the arts, in
Yeah.
dancing like that. And so, we put on a great
And they
show,
stand in
Saginaw.
dresses that
Yeah.
like the colors are just so.
Well, everybody, it's been real today. I want to thank everybody who came into the room and is listening. We will be on the live stream as well. Look at Dolores with her hat, her sombrero. But thank you for joining me here on Mi Gente on Air. If you have any other concerns or comments, you can still put them in the room, or just let us know in a positive way, so we can have dialogue and not become, offensive in any way, because it's important, because just like any other event in our community, it's for the community and it's for all of us to celebrate Saginaw. So thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you next week here on Mi Gente on Air. Okay, that's a wrap. Thank you, everyone. We still got a number of people in the room. It seems like the minute we stopped talking about the parade, there was no more comments. So who's out there that has any concerns or want to make a comment that we can read on the air? Because, I just want to mention, and I tried to address this on the show, is that, I said thank you to Dolores Cameron, just for stepping up and being that parade coordinator. You know how difficult that can be, because it's not just collecting the applications, but it's the marketing. She did a wonderful job on social media. She went on live before and she talked a little bit, tried to hype up the people, and she did a wonderful job. And so, I don't fault her for anything in what she did or what she tried to accomplish. And like I said, she was even there trying to do crowd control. She was a crowd controller. and her and Jess were riding that golf cart, Jesse Vasquez, with his, what kind of hat was that he was wearing? Because it wasn't a sombrero. It was like a wolf hat. What do you call
Yeah, I
those?
don't even.
But they both they came up with that little saying, and they had the crowd hype. And I wanted Dolores to do it again, but I wanted her to do it the way she did it on the on the golf cart because it really had the kids excited and going. So go ahead, Dolores. This is your moment.
Let's go, Saginaw, Michigan, La Una Civica Mexicana 46th Annual Cinco de Mayo Parade.
And then everybody started screaming that back.
Yes,
that was the
they
funniest thing.
Yeah, it was cool seeing the people's reaction to it.
I was like, girl,
They were like, who's that? Who's that? And I was like, I'm Dolores. Hey, I'm your parade coordinator.
Yeah. And I want to mention Dolores is part of the Vasquez family, of course, of Saginaw, but she's got a bigger clan. It's called the Diaz clan. She's my cousin. Her uncle Joe Diaz was one of the founders of the Unión Cívica Mexicana. So I'm really proud that she is a family member that has come and joined our organization, and she's doing a phenomenal job. So thank you, everybody, again, on behalf of myself and the Unión Cívica Mexicana and our parade coordinator, Dolores Cameron. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts for being with us this Cinco de Mayo. Adios. See you later. See you next week.
Bye-bye.